Hey, you're listening to Yakkin with Nick. This is Nick Hazelton. Can you believe it? Podfaded again. Well, folks, man, I don't even know what to say. Life is busy, man, and on the farm, and I'm trying hard, but it's just every year, every few months, I gotta revisit how am I spending my time, and is that economical and efficient to what I want out of life? And man, I really like doing podcasts. I've said this before, but I really enjoy them. I really enjoy doing this, but at the same time, it's not the main thing that I want to do with my life. I want to be a farmer. I want to be a yak farmer. I want to make a farm that's really cool. I want to start a community based around this farm, and that requires focus. And I don't have a lot of it, so I had to cut back things and find that focus. So today I just wanted to get you guys some content and let you know that I probably won't be posting anything in the near future. I have some interviews scheduled and coming up, but gosh, I just realized that I might have double booked myself recently. But I've got a couple of interviews coming up, and I'll release those slowly throughout the next few months or something. Who knows? Probably won't be. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not going to make any promises, but I do have some things planned. But I think for now, I would say that it's safe to say you won't hear much from me from now until the end of summer. Market season is starting up. A lot of people are going into the market this month. I am waiting until next month, but I am getting ready for that. I've got a lot of projects going on, man, and I'm just trying to focus on what's most important right now, because I just stretched myself too thin. It becomes very overwhelming, and this week was a pretty good testament to that. I haven't cut back enough, so I'm dealing with it, man. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know. That's the deal. I didn't want to just say that. So I planned some stuff. I've got some notes for you guys today. Since the last time I didn't post, I don't know how to say that. I was going to post something last month or the month before. I don't even remember when I stopped. I think it was March 5th was the last episode. March 12th around. I just got busy this month. I'm working on a lot of different projects, and they're exciting, and I can't wait to share them with you guys. But I'm kind of done. Let's not say that. But I'd like to be done with telling people, especially you guys, like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and then I don't deliver. I hate doing that. So I'm going to stop making promises, because that's the Stoic thing to do, I think. It's the Quaker thing to do. Quakers don't make promises about the future, I think. I think that's a thing. Whatever, Stoics do it. But yeah, one of the things I've been thinking about as I'm doing this is I'm dealing with a lot of variables, and human beings, we live in a complex system, so complex that we really do not know exactly what's going on. We're figuring it out pretty well, I think. Science and philosophy and religion, they've answered some pretty important questions that have to do with the variables in life, but one individual, man, it's hard to see. Like, I don't know, how do I want to phrase this? What I've been thinking about is, how do I control all these variables in my life? What I'm calling like a variable of life is like, I don't know, it's like everything, right? Everything is a variable, down to like the electrons and nuclei. Those are variables in life, and how it's really like, how do I'm looking at the things that affect me in my life, that affect the way my time is spent specifically. And how I react, I guess. Things that impact my life, I suppose, is what I'm meaning by variables of life. And there are a lot of variables. there are many, many different kinds of variables, and they're, I think it's almost impossible, right? Like what, I don't know how to control all of the variables. I'm not sure I can control any one of them in particular. And I think about this because when I get into a stressful situation, I do try to look at, okay, what can I control here? What can I do about this? And that's the Stoic approach. Looking at my sphere of control. And when what you realize is, like, as you get into Stoicism, you read these books and then you try to practice these ideas, what you find out is all you really can do is control yourself. But I'm thinking about, okay, then how do I get what I want done? Like, I can't necessarily control that I meet my goals, but I can control how I pursue those goals. You know what I mean? And so I've been thinking about that, and I've been thinking about all these different variables in life. I wanted to talk about those and kind of discuss some things around it. But I've been dealing with a lot of different variables, and I've been thinking about them, like, everything is a variable, right? There's people in my life. I have animals in my life, money and my position with it, like if my vehicle's working, whether I'm motivated or not. These are all different variables that I have to deal with to get what I want every day. And, like, some people want me to do these things, and I want to do that. So I have to, depending on their influence on my life, I have to do, or, I don't have, let's not use the word have, let's not use should or should not language, but you know what I mean? Like, it's usually, I don't know, depending on their influence on my life, right? It might be optimal to listen to them, right? So there are all of these, different things. You have to talk to people, and depending on how many people are in your life, that's a variable. And how do you deal with that? That's really difficult. Tools that I've learned are things like nonviolent communication and other kind of interpersonal communication strategies. They can help a lot, and understanding your relationships with people and breaking down, okay, well, why do I like this person, or why are they in my life, and are they valuable? And being careful with some of the people that you hang out with is very smart. Watch how like, who is taking your time and why, and be careful with that. And I'm pretty careful with it, I guess. I don't think I am. I'm pretty carefree with that. Maybe I could shape up. I'm kind of the guy, like, I'm doing shit, you want to come by? Like, hell yeah, that's fine. And in the past, that can be very distracting for me. And still, it can be very distracting for me. But I'm getting better at dealing with that kind of variable of who I hang out with, I suppose. But it gets more complicated than that. It's not just like who you hang out with. It's how do those people interact with you? Because some people are in your life and they have a great benefit to you. They have a purpose there, and it's a great thing, but sometimes they can be a dickling or whatever you want to call it. They can be annoying. They have traits that may not be preferred by you, and you have to deal with that because nobody's perfect, and you aren't either, right? You are somebody like that to somebody else. You're not perfect by any means. I'm certainly not. So you have to come in to your relationships with that understanding that nobody's going to be perfect, and you're going to have to make sacrifices, I suppose. Not really what I mean, but I guess there's costs and there's benefits, right? And you have to take the costs with the benefits. That's the way it works most of the time. So, man, what do you do about that? Like I said, nonviolent communication is helpful. Understand how to communicate what you are looking for from people, and in a way that's not going to be rude or inflammatory. That's not the word I'm looking for, but I suppose that is. You know what I mean? You got to learn to be able to understand what other people are looking for and what you're looking for, and what are the basic psychological values and desires that drive these people and yourself too. Nonviolent communication is very useful with that. Nothing else is really coming to mind at the top of my head. Stoicism is helpful, right? Focus on your sphere of control. You can't control other people. This is not a variable you can control. You can work on influencing them, and nonviolent communication helps with that. But really, in my experience, influence comes from, like, if you want to influence people, and I don't know, it's like, am I good at that? I don't think so. You have to live by example. Like, what do you want other people to do? Do that. Don't expect other people to do things that you aren't able to do, because that's frustrating. And I know that for me, when I see people who are telling me to do stuff that I don't see them doing, or I don't see them doing very well, it's like, why am I going to listen to you? And, that's a logical fallacy. Just because they say it in a certain way, or just because this person is kind of a hypocrite, or they're not able to live up to their own world, doesn't mean that what they're saying isn't true, So you have to watch all these things, man. You have to be careful, because you don't want to ruin relationships. You don't want to shut out all people in your life, because then you lose out on the division of labor. But also, connectedness. Like, that's a really powerful thing. There's some people who can do without it, without human connection. I'm not one of those people, and I really value the relationships that I have. So I've been thinking about that particularly in the last few weeks, about how do I control the variables in the relationships that I have, because I'm just involving myself with a lot more people than I ever have, being a libertarian individualist. It's pretty crazy. So I'm learning, and it's not too difficult. I know nonviolent communication, and I know these things. I know how to interact with people, because I think I'm fairly naturally good at it. I've definitely trained myself more and more to get over shyness and things like that, but and to be able to control my emotions and heated situations, but it's difficult, man, controlling that variable, or even influencing those variables. And I'm still trying to figure out that how do I influence people? And sometimes you have to let go of that idea, though. Like, sometimes you don't get to have control. Sometimes you don't get to have influence over people. Most of the time you don't, I would say. And so I think the big main Stoic approach is focus on yourself, right? And that's the example setting, right? Set the example of who you want to be. Let go of who they are, and and what upsets you, and look for the good, and focus on that, because focusing on the negativity doesn't usually help, unless you're focusing on the negativity to apply a positive angle, like a solution. You know what I mean? But you have to be careful, because human beings are sort of emotionally volatile. Most people are, especially when you get into any kind of disagreement. It's my experience that most people are not good at handling that. And how do you find those people that are good at handling it? Start hanging out in NVC circles. I'm sorry if I just made a lot of noise on the mic. I blew out the side of my mouth. I see some noise on my waveforms. I don't know if that's what it's called, a waveform. Whatever. Most of you guys aren't audio nerds. So, hey, let's get back on track. I'm getting better at this, right? This has been a decent, episode so far. You ruined the streak, bro. Just kidding. Whatever. But, yeah, man. I don't know where I was going. I forgot what I was saying. I was talking about relationships and people, and oh yeah, how do you find those people that are, I don't know, dude, because I found a few of them. I found some good motherfuckers who can deal with a heated argument, and I've increased my ability to do so, but I'm not perfect, man. It's so easy to get caught up in emotions when they're there. I pride myself in being a pretty emotionally stable person, and pretty clear-headed, and in the moment, I'm pretty able to deal with pressure and I don't know, I guess surprises. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm fairly capable at dealing with people, even in heated situations. But man, in the last 2 weeks, I've had a few situations where I kind of lost control. Not in a sense that I freaked out, and I don't want to say I freaked out, but I definitely wasn't thinking straight. I wasn't thinking like, oh, geez, what? Like, I wasn't thinking about the relationships and where I was going with it. I was thinking about this person's an asshole and I need to call them out on it. And that's not a helpful way. That doesn't help you control the variable. At least it doesn't get you predicted and desired results, as my friend Daryl Becker would say. Unless your desired results are to piss people off and get them upset. And I don't know, man. That's the way it works. I made some mistakes, so I'm thinking about that again. And I'm thinking about what can I do. So I don't know if I want. I could keep going with this. So that's people. That's a variable in life that is really hard to control. It's almost impossible to control, right? I would say that it's impossible to control other people completely. You can be very influential, and you want and the thing is, I don't think you really. I don't want to be controlling or influential. At least I want to be influential to an extent, I guess. But I don't want control. I don't want to have power over people, I guess. Because I'm like, I don't know. I just don't think that that's good. I don't want power over people because, first of all, that's time I have to spend on somebody else. Fuck that. I got my own shit to deal with. I don't even have full control over my life. I don't need to be messing with other people, right? But also, I want people to be independent. I want people to be able to do what they want to do, and I don't want to hinder them. I want to step out of their way, you know what I mean? So there's some way to interact with people that is beneficial and fulfills all of the values and desires in a relationship. I hope, right? That's what I'm going for. And I'm trying to figure that out exactly. And I'm looking at these relationships that I have some difficulties in, and I'm really trying to break them down. Like, man, why do I get so upset about with my mom when she tells me to clean up a mess that I made? Because I still live at home, and I'm not a very clean person. So I'm learning the lesson now that I'm an adult and can actually be like, oh yeah, I should listen to my parents instead of just reacting to the stimulus with, fuck you, you're my parental authority figure. I'm not going to listen to you because I'm a juvenile delinquent. You know what I mean? Like, I've grown up in the last year or so. I kind of realized, okay, I got to do more shit for them, right? Because I tried to move out and do the thing I wanted to do without living with them, and that didn't work last summer. I moved back. So I'm looking at, how do I provide enough value to these people so that we're, beneficial? And then also, how do we organize ourselves as a group of people, as a group of individuals? Because we're a family unit, and there has to be some sort of structure, especially if you're dealing with rational, independent people, because they want their way, and sometimes our ways don't get along. So we have to figure out, where do you do that? And I'm still messing with that, man. And it's fun. It's stressful, but it's fun. It's just, I don't know, man. I read this flow book, and I just find the flow in all these things. The flow is the optimal state where you're really into this, whatever you're thinking about or whatever you're doing. So I'm thinking about this stuff from a psychological perspective, using nonviolent communication and internal family systems therapy and all these different ideas I've learned. I'm trying to look at, how do I, first of all, work with my family, people I have a pretty intense, not the word, but I have a history with that involves my family is it's pretty great. It's pretty great. There's no abuse or anything like that, but there's we just butt heads sometimes, and throughout my life, my 19 years, there are things that my parents have done that I don't appreciate. And there's some things that I don't think I've even forgave them for. And partly because I've never got an apology, but things when I wanted to drop out of school, yes, my parents let me drop out of school, but it took them a fucking year to be convinced. And that, at the time, really got to me. And then, I don't think I have really evaluated that that feeling of these people keeping me back from what I wanted to do, because it was pretty intense emotions for me. I was very upset being in school, and listen, I didn't say that I was suicidal to my parents and that I wanted to get out of there so bad because it sucked, because it was terrible. Maybe eventually I did. I turned my dad onto school sucks and things, and eventually he got into it, and then, my mom did as well. I got into the idea of letting me do this. And that's so great, and I'm so appreciative, but there is still that part of me that doesn't really want to let go of that anger towards the authority figure, because it pops up, that dynamic pops up again, because they control the property, right? And I have to live by their rules to an extent. That's private property capitalism. I just thought I heard a vehicle come up my drive, and I turned off to the side. I don't see anything, folks. We're good. Sorry, like sitting here tweaking, like, whoa, somebody out there. Whoa, whatever. I'm sorry. I'll get back to it. It's so stupid. Like, I could just turn and not point it out, but I gotta make a thing out of it, because I'm Nick. It's what I do. So I'm like looking at these things and like, geez, man, I thought because I was so young and I didn't have very much trauma in my past that I could just deal with this by doing mushrooms once. That's a joke, but you mean, like, I thought I did enough personal work, and not even like the mushroom thing. I mean like psychotherapy to an extent. I've never been to a therapist, but I've done a lot of work on myself, and I've done a lot of exploration through methods like internal family systems therapy and nonviolent communication, and the OFNR model, whatever you want to call it. Or, no, that's not what I meant. Not whatever you want to call it. That is what it's called. And I used it, and I used them, to try to explore these parts of my mind, that have these emotional reactions. Like, why do I emotionally react to my mom telling me to clean stuff? It's because in the past we had a relationship, and maybe even now, of authority, where this person is an authority over me, and as I got into like realizing what is authority, I kind of realized, oh, these people are mistreating me in small ways, right? I've never been abused in my life. So I just want to make that clear. But there have been times like where, I didn't appreciate how my parents treat me. And I look back on my past, and I think about some of the things, like the way my parents treated me. And I'm like, I didn't appreciate that. And maybe this is where these habits and reactions come from. Like, I didn't choose this at 6 years old to get mad at my mom because she vacuumed up my toy or something on accident. Like, I'm that age, at 6 years old, you don't really have free will. Like, you're just reacting to shit that happens. And so I get mad, and then I'm like, I hate you, Mom. And she's like, how dare you say that to me? And then, I don't know, like, we had a conflict. This was like when I was 6 years old. And I did some internal family systems therapy work myself, and I asked, I'm like going through these stuff. I can't explain this shit to you guys. You'll have to look it up. I should drop a link in the show notes there about internal family systems therapy and Pete Gerlach, because it's interesting work. If you're not into it, then it sounds kind of weird, but once you like look in, and it's like, okay, it's pretty simple. Whatever. We don't need to explain it, but doing that work, I kind of look back on some of these memories that I had, and particularly that memory, and it like kind of showed me like, oh, like this is one of those memories that really made me not trust my mom. And this is deep shit. And so there were like, and it's, I don't want to say like it's, I don't trust my mom, right? But I don't trust my parents for some reasons, and I know that because I can feel that inside myself inside my mom, when I look at things, or when I get when I look at the things that they say, when I get like advice from them, or when they tell me what to do, these old emotions from our past rise up, and it's I'm learning how to deal with that again, like still. So these all go into these variables, right? In relationships and the variable of life of people and the relationships. There are many variables, depending on how long you've known them and the history that you have, and that kind of distinguishes whether can you get along, and can you overcome that history, and can you overcome the differences you have with people because you have a different history or something. Because we're all people, man. We're all trying to have a decent time. It's hard. It's really hard. There are a lot of variables in life, and we don't understand them all. So you have to be empathetic, right? Like, even though I was upset at my mom, and maybe she didn't exercise the best parenting skills then. But she's a human being like me, and it's not like I've exercised the best relationship, personal skills, or even nonviolent communication. I'm a big fan of nonviolent communication, and I can't even use it sometimes with people because I'm so caught up in the moment. Like, I get it, right? Like, it happens, so I can forgive them, and I do, right? At least I'm working on it. I'm still like going through some of these memories, and when these emotions surface up, I try to look, okay, well, where does that come from? And sometimes that's difficult because sometimes you don't want to let go. Like, sometimes you want to be upset. Like, I don't know, like this week, I'm like realizing that I have to let go of some of this anger I have towards not being allowed to do exactly what I want to do. Like, I want full control over my life. And it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. Because I'm trying to build something that involves other people, and I'm trying to work on a project that is for other people. Like, it's for me. Like, I'm doing this farm so that I can have something to do with my life. But really, the reason why I'm doing that with my life is because I want to make the world a better place. Right? I want to connect people to their food. I want to connect people to the natural world. I'm doing this for people. So I can't just be like, nah, I'm gonna be a hermit in the woods, because that's the only way I could. Like, it's an option, right? I could be like, all right, fuck y'all, I'm out, and go run out in the woods and live like a wild man for the rest of my life, hunting and fishing and foraging, because I'm not that good at it, actually. I would probably die. But if I wanted to, I can make it a priority. I can make it a priority to learn. I have the opportunities, man. I could do something else than this. I could say, you know what, leave my parents with these yaks, because I don't even know if they are considered legally mine. Like, they're probably owned by our LLC, and I own a quarter of the LLC, but the rest is my family, right? So I could give up, man. I could do it. And I thought about it this week. Like, what am I doing, man? Like, do I really enjoy this? These people aren't letting me do blah, 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 blah. And they're like poking my buttons that I don't like. And I don't feel like I'm being respected as much as I should be. Like, the work I'm doing is not being recognized. How do I change that? And part of me is like, well, make them pay for it. Show them how valuable you are by being an asshole or leaving that, like, just disappearing, like do the walkout, where never mind, I just don't want to go there, but I could do that, but I don't want to, partly because I've spent so much fucking time on this already. It's like, seriously, you'd give up? No way. I can't just give up on yaks. This is my life now. Like, I'm the yak guy. Like, yes, I could rebuild my identity if I wanted to, but I don't, and I don't want to leave my family, because I do love them. I do really appreciate what they've done for me, because despite like the being held back from them by doing podcast, or dropping out of school and shit, they didn't let me do that much. And yeah, they're trying to control what I do here on the farm, but every opportunity I've had to do this farming thing, not every, but the largest opportunity, the beginnings of the opportunity, and most of these opportunities have come from my parents, right? The money to back me to buy these yaks, like, I'm in debt. They paid for it, and I'm going to pay them back. That's the deal. But they did that for me with, like, I don't even know if they have interest on that loan. Like, I'm lucky motherfucker because of them. I did a lot. Like, I want to give myself credit. Like, part of me just definitely wants to be recognized and say, well, yeah, man, but I came up with the idea, and yeah, I did most of the work for it. But I wouldn't have had that opportunity if my parents hadn't bought this place from my grandparents. I wouldn't have the opportunity I wouldn't have even thought of the opportunity if my parents didn't put me in 4-H. I wouldn't be where I'm at if my dad didn't introduce to me libertarianism at a young age. I wouldn't be here if my mom didn't give birth to me, right? And I wouldn't have the money to be able to do this if neither of them worked, or if either of them didn't, right? Like, I'm blessed because these people sacrificed a lot of their life to raise me, to get me to where I am today, and I'm really appreciative of that. So anyway, this turned into it's something else. I meant to talk about like more variables in life, but this just came to me, my friends. So there you go. And I don't know, man. Like, maybe you're finding yourself in a similar situation where people in your life, maybe it's a spouse or a loved one, just kind of irks you, man. And you, like, I don't know, yesterday or 2 days ago, man, I was just worked up. I was really worked up, and I was just unfortunate. I'm just, I'm dealing with a lot of shit. Like, I'm just a little bit stressed, and then I have somebody say, well, make a few remarks or speak to me in the tone that I don't like, and then I'm set off, man, and I'm thinking about how do I make this person's life difficult? Like, it's not helpful. It doesn't do anything. It just makes life more difficult, and that's like, okay, challenging people can be useful, but why do that in that way? Like, there's a way to make life difficult in a fun way, but don't make life difficult for other people, man, because you don't want them to do that for you. Like, life is difficult on its own, right? Like, you got to deal with all these other things. Like, try to make a place where you don't have to deal with that bullshit. And that's what I'm trying to do, man. And the first step is dealing with my bullshit. Like, how did I get here? Why do I do these things? And learning and taking the personal responsibility, because just because they raised me and they made me doesn't mean that they have all the personal responsibility. Because I don't want them to. I don't want them to take responsibility for raising me anymore. It's my job now. That's me. I get to do that. And I don't and I feel like getting upset and then being like, well, like, you're upset that I don't clean things very well. Well, guess what? Where do you think I learned that habit? Or how do you think I was taught these habits? You raised me. How the hell did I get here? Like, you tell me. I don't want that, because that doesn't give me the control I want, right? I want more control of my life, and the way I do that is by taking personal responsibility. Like, just because I didn't have the best role models on cleaning or something, or I wasn't taught to clean in the right way or in a self-intrinsically motivated way, doesn't mean that I should be upset and that I should blame other people for that. Because why blame other people for your problems when you could just fix them? Bam, no problem, right? And it's difficult, man, fixing your own problems, but fuck, who else is going to do it? Nobody else is going to do it. Everybody else has their own problems. So, hey, man, that's all I got for you guys today. That was so easy to do. This was one take, motherfuckers. You want to know why? Because I ain't high. I found one thing that do not smoke weed before you do a podcast. You just turn silent. Like, that's just a thing. And I heard this from other podcasts. I don't know how Joe Rogan does it. He's just in such a comfortable place. Maybe I could do it with other people that I was more comfortable with, But I just find that marijuana just puts me too far in my head, and then I start doubting, well, what am I thinking? And I'm not in the flow of talking like I am now. I'm just going, guys. I'm just flowing. So anyway, yeah, man, I think that was fun to do. So thank you guys for listening, man. I already said that I won't be posting stuff, but yeah, I guess that's it, man. That's all I have to say. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being patient with me as I fade again. I promise you fuckers that I'm up to some cool shit. I just can't, I don't want to talk about it until it's done. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And then, man, I don't know, dude. I just keep thinking it's like, oh, it's just this next season, and I'll have more free time, and I'll be able to, I'll have made it a little bit further, and I'll be able to dedicate more time to podcasting. But I don't know, man. I'm a farmer. That's what needs to happen. So hey, I'm gonna keep trying to do whatever I can to get you guys some content, because I really appreciate you, especially those folks that pay me on Patreon. I left y'all a message, a Patreon episode, patron only episode. It's not very long, but I don't think there was anything exciting in it. I was just kind of giving you guys a quick update on what's going on. So check that out if you'd like to pay me while I'm doing this kind of. It's not really a hiatus. I don't know, man. I'll try to be posting content irregularly, but if you'd like to, you can go to patreon.com/justyakkin, JUSTYAKKIN. If you already donate to me and you're doing it because you want content from me, then stop paying me, man. My impression is that I get these. Most of you people that follow me are interested in me because of what I do, not necessarily purely for the content, right? You're supporting me do what I want because you believe in what I'm doing. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really know. I'd actually like to know, why do you donate to me, folks? Why do you even listen? I haven't been on Facebook. I wonder what the Yakkin with Nick feedback group said. So that thought came into my mind because I was going to post that. Anyway, it's hard to explain, like, when I have those weird tangents in my mind, where they came from. But yeah, Yakkin with Nick feedback groups on Facebook. I am curious. Why do you listen? What do you think about me fading all the time? Do you think I'm a piece of shit? Because I do. No, I don't. I don't know, guys. I just want to keep talking because I haven't done this in a while. I just want to say more shit. Anyway. I shouldn't. This is the end of it. I don't have anything more useful to say. So, if you like that, let me know. Give me a review on iTunes, man. There's a couple of you guys that have written me reviews. I appreciate it so much. And the people on Patreon, I appreciate you so much for donating to me over this last month that I didn't produce any content. Literally, it is the 5th today. A month without content. And I guess I heard, my dad told me that Philip Frey called me out on not getting my episode out in a week. So I talk to him every week. I should have been like, okay, you could choose like who gets to have jerky, or maybe I'll check Yakkin with Nick and see who the next person was, and I'll send you some jerky or something, because Philip's in the UK, so I can't ship him anything like that. Hell yeah, dude. That's it. Thank you guys for doing that. And honestly, I feel bad when people pay me when I don't do shit. So if you don't find, like, if you feel like you're wasting your money, don't give it to me. Take your $1 a month back, man. But I don't know, man. I am really grateful, and I really appreciate y'all for helping me out with this, because I'm making like $7 a month off this podcast, and that's really fucking cool to me. So thank you guys. I hope that you're having a nice time, and that the variables in life aren't beating you down, man. Keep pushing. Persevere. Let go. Yeah, those are all my advice. So talk to you guys next time. Bye.